Is this the fourth episode?
What is the deal, YouTube? What's the deal, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, Dolphin Fan Voices podcast. We are a little short-handed here. It is 7 o'clock. I did send out invites to the rest of the podcast members, and I'm just kind of waiting for those guys to come in. Hopefully, they'll pop in as the podcast continues. Um, the other member that's here chilling, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
My name's Stefan. Been a Dolphins fan for a bit, probably about 8 years now. Time being on here, so I'm excited.
Cool. How did you make out from Hurricane Irma, man?
I mean, I fared pretty well. I got pretty lucky. I live in Miami Gardens. Basically, really the worst thing that happened is our power went out for about, I'd say about 16 hours. Much more fortunate than other people. We fared pretty well. Like a tree fell down near my home, which it took them like a week just to get rid of. Really a big mess around where I live, but for the most part, I fared pretty well. My family's safe. Everything pretty much went well.
All right. Yeah, I had very similar problems. The one exception for me is I still have a huge, gigantic tree in my front yard. I actually have two trees, and I'm way the hell up here in Atlanta, so I never thought that something like this would even be possible. But the tree ended up falling down, taking out a power line and my cable lines. So I didn't have power or cable for about 6 days. Ended up living in a goddamn hotel for a while. So I'm just very, very happy to be up and running once again. So let's dive right into these topics, man. What is your thoughts um, on the San Diego Charger game?
Overall, I'd say it was a since it's the first game of the season, I think I have to give the team a pass. But it was a relatively frustrating game. One thing I really thought throughout the game is that defense is holding up very well. But one thing that was missing with this team is two of our starting linebackers were missing, and that was really obvious. Shredding up the middle of the field. This is why we got Raekwon McMillan and Lawrence Timmons. Lawrence Timmons, he's shown that he could possibly be unreliable because when we needed him the most versus a great quarterback, he wasn't there. And because of him, we had to deal with Mike Hall as our linebacker, and they took advantage of him because all 10 times that they threw the ball his direction, the receiver caught it. And that's obviously a huge problem for us when it comes to dealing against the pass because the middle of the field is a serious problem. One thing I was thinking was that maybe Adam Gase is trying to be smart here at the same time because we're playing the Jets, and the Jets aren't much of a threat. And we can still live with Mike Cole as our linebacker. And I think he's taking a calculated risk with Lawrence Timmons suspending him. I think he's only going to suspend him for 1 week next week because the Jets really aren't much of a risk. But overall, it was a solid performance. One really thing that popped out to me is that how underrated our offensive line is. You know, media talking about how our offensive line is a top five offensive line. I'm like, I must not see what they're seeing, but here, I mean, we may not have the most talented offensive line, but it's like it totally transforms us into a different team because we can do anything we want because of the balance that we have and the talent that we have. So overall, really, the one negative thing I can say, our pass defense needs work because we were playing a lot of zone, and that's not what benefits our corners. The other thing I can say is that Jay Cutler looked very good in the Adam Gase offense. We were running the screen game, which actually went well. I think we went for about 5 or 6 screen passes in the game, so that was good to see. So Jay Cutler looked good, and I was happy with that.
Um, I think I've made my feelings very apparent over, I mean, this past week, what I thought. Um, just like you said, man, the linebackers still look like they're going to be a very big problem. It does suck that we are. It's just so fucking frustrating that I feel like we've had this problem for a very long time, and the guys that we brought in to fix it, whether it was McMillan or Timmons or Maliga, whatever the hell his name is. I know people gonna say I botched his name, but yeah, I botched his name. Um, that we don't have those guys are not out there, and we ended up having to face Phillip Rivers with lesser talented linebackers. So to me that was very very annoying, and it showed on the defense. The other thing that I thought was terrible from us was our pass rush. We were getting no heat whatsoever on the quarterback. I think we got one sack in the entire game. And in the offseason, I was saying, um, just improving our pass rush would help the secondary, because even if you have a subpar secondary, if you can get after the quarterback and force him to throw that ball before he wants to, that's going to help that secondary. And we're not doing that. And if we go and we play some of these better teams, we go and play the Falcons, the Patriots, the Raiders, and we can't get after the quarterback, and our cornerbacks aren't, great, we're going to have some long damn days coming up. The other thing that I found annoying from that San Diego Charger game is the absent trips to the red zone. 3 trips to the red zone and not able to put points on the board. It can't happen when you're playing better teams.
To make
Those
a
bet
point, good point though. We were really conservative in the first half. I mean, we hadn't played in 3 weeks.
right.
We were really running a short passing game. I mean, the running game was doing fine, but we were really rolling with a short passing game, to get everybody warmed up. I mean, it definitely was, frustrating to see that in the first half. Definitely do better than what we were doing, but we were running a short passing game, really not much balance in the variety of the passes that we were in the passing plays that we were using. So, in Adam Gase's defense,
Why in the heck? Why did we get um Thomas if we're not going to use him?
yeah, yeah,
If he's
that was
not going to be used as a red zone threat, then what was the point of even getting Thomas and bringing him to this team? I'm watching video of Thomas wide open, like not wide open, but one on one out there, and he's just not being used. I don't really understand that. I don't understand that at all. Or maybe it was just week one. Maybe
you
that's what.
know. I think I would need to see a bigger sample size. I think I would have to give Jay Cutler a chance to connect with Julius Thomas and gain chemistry with him and trust him. Because sooner or later, knowing Jay Cutler, you're going to. And eventually, when Adam Gase is seeing that Julius Thomas isn't getting the ball, a pass catching tight end, heading, he's going to say, you know what? He's going to talk to Jay Cutler. He's going to talk to Julius Thomas. And he's going to say, we need to do a better job of connecting with each other. And you guys need to get better. And he, as a play caller, he's going to try to find ways to get Julius Thomas the ball.
Right.
So I'm gonna give that a chance. I mean, Julius Thomas, I think he had like about maybe 3 catches the other game, which were for short gains, but he didn't really make much of an impact at all.
No.
But one thing I did see was that he was a willing blocker, and that is a start. He was a willing
Yes.
blocker, and that
Yes.
definitely is a start.
Yeah.
And Tunsil, one thing, and Tunsil was pretty poor.
Yes. Yes, he was. I I I was asking people, do they actually think that it may make sense kick him back inside?
Um,
Who, Kiko?
No. Who are we talking? Tunsil. Does it make sense to kick him back inside?
um,
Because he not only
he,
has he struggled in this last game, but he struggled in the preseason as well.
I mean, if that's the position that he played in college, and that's the position that Adam Gase wanted to allow him to play during training camp, and he's adjusted to that, and he is prepared to play that role. I mean, Adam Gase is pretty transparent with his guys, so if a guy's not playing well, he'll tell them, but he also will defend him in the media at the same time.
Yeah.
But with a young guy like Laramie Tunsil, I don't know what his character's like, but to have a guy as your left tackle for all of training camp and preseason, and tell him that's what you want him to be for the next 10 years, and then after one bad game that he has, you kick him back inside. How is that going to affect the guy's confidence? I mean, I know you want to have a guy earn his role and have a guy, earn his stay on your team, but he's a young player. I don't think you want to mess with guy's confidence like that.
Well, my thoughts are on Tunsil is yeah, he struggled in the preseason, but around the same time as that, he had the birth of his son in the hurricane. And if you look at his college tape, he's really good against the slower defensive ends, but the guys like Melvin Ingram, the speed rushers,
Yeah.
he has a little bit of a tendency to drag his right leg, and he doesn't quite get enough space outside to meet him head on
Uh,
without a little bit of a chip. And I think that's why Adam Gase was all that's on me because he didn't slide any protection over. But I think what we saw of him in the Charger game isn't what we're going to see the rest of the season.
One thing I am a bit concerned about is with young offensive linemen is that the NFLPA, they petitioned to have fewer practices during the regular season, lesser time for offensive linemen to work on the things they need to improve on. I mean, your coaches can tell you what to improve on. You can easily make the same mistakes in game if you don't practice them off the field. I mean, in the on the practice field. So that could be a problem for Tunsil. I hope he can get past it and maybe
Yeah, that's the thing is there's less padded practices, and it's hurting the offensive line, and it's also stunning the development of the quarterbacks because there's less reps in practice with pads.
yeah.
It's one thing to just throw to some guy in shorts and it looks pretty, you can drop it down in, but you don't have the live feel of a rush coming at you.
Yeah.
Console, that was hit in the Charger game was his best job he's done as a pro in the running game. He was crushing dudes in the run game.
yeah.
And Jawan James too, give him a lot of credit. I
Oh,
mean, he
yes.
was probably. I mean,
Shane was
I
punking Bosa out, dude.
I mean, I don't know if that was the best game of his career, but
It was.
versus a good quality defensive end like that,
Yeah.
dominating performance. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't remember him touching a Jolly other than him dragging him by his dreads.
Yeah. And that was a few yards down the field.
That
Yeah,
was the guy, the safety. He was doing a lot of dirty work against our team on the first half. Jai by his hair,
yeah,
and he kept going after Landry's and Parker's knees. That's why Landry was so pissed off. And when that field is so small, they all left the tunnel for halftime at the same time,
Uh-huh.
and that's where Landry, Parker, and Adai had to be broken up because Landry went after Adai in the tunnel on the way back to the locker room.
well deserved. He went after the way he knocked Parker out of bounds on that one play. I mean,
I'm surprised he didn't get hurt.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's a very physical sport, and things happen in the heat of a moment. But it's ridiculous that you don't have the attention of mind to know not to hit a guy in his knees if you don't have to. If it's really not necessary, guys are running out of bounds and he's hitting him in the knees. It's ridiculous.
I hope that Clyde can keep the mindset, him and Chris Forrester, of the offensive line. Because, man, the way Jawan James played against Joey Bosa, if we can get James to play that every single week, my God, dude, Ajayi is going to have a monster year.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
still
With
waiting for Ajayi to show up as a pass
Lid
catcher,
Bosa
though.
like 6 yards down the field, and then he just, like WWE, he just hip tossed him. He just slammed him on his back and just dropped right down on top of him. Man, I went ape crap on that one when I saw that one. I was screaming hard. I was like, "Oh my God, he just did that good dirty."
Yes. Yeah. For all of the crap that our offensive line took in the off season and last season, um, they played a great game, especially in run blocking that first game. I think Mike Pouncey makes all the difference, man. I think
He
he makes
does.
all the difference because every time Mike Pouncey's in the game, Jay Ajayi has a good game. He hasn't had a bad game with Mike Pouncey in the game yet. We have to do everything to keep this man healthy. I don't care if we got to wrap him in bubble wrap, um, foam, whatever we have to do to keep that hip healthy. Man, that guy has to play. He is pivotal for the success of this run game.
What do you think, guys, about not just Tunsil struggling, but the left guard when they were swinging Steen and Davis in and out?
Yeah.
They struggled too, which kind of made Tunsil stand out even more struggling. Is the guy on the inside of him was struggling?
Mhm.
Well, that's a position that I came into this season thinking that was going to be a struggle spot. Even with Larson playing in that position, I thought it was going to be one of the weak spots on the offensive line. I was hoping and praying that Asiata was going to be the guy over there, and maybe we'd see just a dramatic improvement from him throughout the preseason. He ends up not even being yeah, I don't know. What is it? Two or three guys ahead of him in the depth chart for that position. So
Yeah,
it's
he was fourth with Larson on the depth chart at left guard.
yeah, exactly. So which is why I thought the move to um, put Tunsil back in the at the guard and put Eric Smith out there because I know they really like that guy.
Yeah, Eric Smith is a stud, dude. We
Yeah,
found a
that's what I'm
gem in
saying.
there, dude.
That could solidify the offensive line right there. But I understand, you draft Tunsil first round. This is what he's used to doing. Um, so you stick him out there, but I think you put your best on the field. That's what we did last year. So
Well, we would have to see a couple more bad games for I think for Gase and Forster to actually do that.
yeah,
But you make a good point because if we slid Tunsil in at left guard, where he did fairly decent last year,
yep,
somebody that can hold up on the left tackle with Bushrod and James playing as good as they are. I mean, they clearly were the best side of our offensive line,
yes.
and you didn't even need to be an expert to see it. Every time they called the wrong play, it was they had the line of scrimmage reassessed 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, which makes
They hit that one hole. He wasn't even touched until the hit him. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, that one play where he went for like 25, yeah, he wasn't touched at all until he was well down the field, and that makes the PFF looked terrible because last year they tried to tell us that Bushrod was like the worst guard in football, and I was like, man, that's
Yeah, that was bull crap,
that's
dude.
crap. And then Gase came out saying that he was our second best offensive lineman. That's why I don't trust nothing Pro Football Focus tells me, man. They couldn't tell me it was raining if I didn't walk outside and feel the drizzle. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They can't tell me anything. Anything, because every single time they say something, it seems like they're always wrong. So like when people try to use Pro Football Focus as a source, like, man, get that out of here. They don't they miss so many times, it's not funny. All right, so New York Jets. New York Jets. New York Jets, come on down. New York Jets are the second game of this season. What do you guys expect from the New York Jets?
Um, a good defense and a shit offense, pretty much. That's basically it. I expect a quarterback that's going to come out, throw for 150 yards and 2 interceptions, and pretty easy victory, pretty much. Yeah, unless we fuck it up for ourselves, basically.
I look for him to on offense to line up in the two tight end set and try to get Powell some early success in the running game. Allow
Yep.
McCown to utilize play action pass later on, but I don't see that working. I just don't see it happening because with the way Sue is playing this year and Godchild playing way better than Phillips ever did any time last year. And with the addition of William Hayes, I just don't see it working. And they're going to have to try to do exactly what the Chargers did. They're going to have to go to the quick passing game, a three-step drop, 1, 2, 3, out of the shotgun formation, let alone, and just count 3 seconds or 2 seconds in their head and just let it go. Run the short crossing routes, the flat routes, the wheel routes for the back, that kind of stuff. And their
I
defense,
mean,
I look for early pass rush, and then I look for Devontae Parker and Steele to carve that secondary up.
yeah.
True. True. Um, can anybody name me a wide receiver for the Jets?
Um, Jermaine
Curly,
Curse, he just got traded there. No, Curly's playing for the 49ers now. They
I thought
have
he was back. I thought he was
Nah,
back
he.
with the Jets.
Oh yeah, that's right. Curly did come back.
he came back.
Yeah, they got Curly
Oh,
back. So they have Curly. They have Cur. I didn't even know Curse. So the Seahawks let Curse go,
for
Yeah, they traded
Sheldon
him
Richardson and a second round pick.
huh?
Sheldon Richardson and a second round pick.
with Curse, and the Seahawks get Sheldon Richardson and a fourth or fifth round pick or something like that.
Okay. Oh, so that's what that trade was. All right. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
but how much value did Sheldon Richardson have? Wasn't he like a Pro Bowler?
Yeah, but they say he was
yeah.
really a locker room problem, and like his attitude wasn't very great. So that made his value take a hit. But he's tremendously talented, though.
Oh,
He certainly has to be a top 15 defensive lineman talent in the NFL. Is just dude, and the way he carries himself
okay.
really made his value take a hit.
He he and Brandon Marshall had a famous soundbite war at the end of last season, and
Yeah, I
that's
remember that.
when Brandon went with the Giants. But Sheldon Richardson hasn't let it go, and he became someone in the locker room that the coaches like. He wasn't buying their Kool Aid. He was just telling the truth that if they stunk, they stunk.
Hmm.
So they dealt him.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're in full rebuild mode. They're looking for a quarterback and a couple offensive linemen and some other pieces in the draft to for next year. That's what they're looking for.
I mean, guys, is it just me or does it look like the Jets are trying to intentionally set up Todd Bowles to fail here?
Oh yeah,
I see it from a mile away. I can see it from a mile away. They're gonna go 0-16 and
if
blame it
he
on
makes
him.
the full season, then I'll be surprised.
What?
the the mess.
If Todd Bowles makes the full season, I'll be surprised.
I mean, it's just
They had him locked down for a fire, dude.
I know it's just ridiculous the way they set this dude up. I mean, they know they're gonna go 0-16 and they're gonna fire him anyways.
Yeah.
They know it.
If I was
He's a
a
good coach.
if I was a guy who was going for a head coaching role, there's no way in hell I would jump on a team that does not have a quarterback. You
Yeah.
couldn't do it. It is by far the hardest position to find. And if you find a team that doesn't have a quarterback, you're not going to succeed. If you think about all of the teams in the NFL that not have not had success, coaching and quarterback is usually the problem.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
I totally agree with you.
yeah, look how many quarterbacks the Cleveland Browns have went through. They've had a smorgasbord of quarterbacks. I mean, we've had that problem as well. Quarterback coaching, quarterback coaching. Jets is the same way.
Well, with the Browns, where they made their error is they actually did have some coaching talent. They just couldn't see that they had it. They had Bruce Arians, who was doing an okay job with what was that? Not Carson Palmer, but the other Tim Couch.
Yep.
I mean, they weren't like great, but they weren't like trash though. They fired him, cut the quarterback, and then Bruce goes over and makes Ben Roethlisberger a freaking household name.
Yep.
Definitely.
But he was on their staff, and Gase, I didn't think was going to make it out of the Bears. And then when they hired Jim Fox from the Broncos, I was like, yes, because I wanted either Adam Gase or John Gruden as the Dolphins coach to come in after the horrible Joe Philbin debacle. And Gase said what Isaiah just said. The Dolphins had a young quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. They had some young receiving talent with Stills and Landry, and the rest of it he could fix. That's what attracted him to the Dolphins.
Yep.
Todd Bowles known better when he looked at the Jets roster. They had no quarterback, old receivers, no running backs. They had a decent defense, but he's a defensive coach. You don't want to just go to a team loaded with defense and not have any pieces, especially at the most important ones.
True. All right. So, what do you guys expect in this Jet game?
Well, I expect the same from Jay Ajayi. I basically expect a better performance. I expect a more balanced performance from our passing game because we were really conservative in the first half of the last game. So I do expect us to take more shots early on in the game and try to take the Jets out early, but not shy away from what we like to do, which is run the football at the same time. So I definitely think we'll be balanced, do our thing. I think our pass defense will perform much better because, of course, we're playing against the Jets, and our run defense will play well too. I think it'll be a pretty our team. I don't necessarily think it'll be a confidence boosting performance, but it definitely is the type of win that'll tell your team how you want to play for the rest of the season. It'll set the parameter of how you should play against these type of teams and how you should perform and how you expect yourself to perform week in and week out. So I definitely expect this to be I won't say a blowout, but a very convincing win.
I look for same type of things that we did offensively in San Diego or Los Angeles Chargers. Minus being so conservative for so long. I look for they're gonna Gase is still gonna call those what everybody hates, those little bubble screens to Parker and Landry, but he's gonna incorporate more early on. He's gonna incorporate some shots downfield.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I'm hoping he gives a few carries or passes to Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams, and more passes to Ajayi in the passing game.
I think he
Like
would
play
have
fake.
done that. My
And
fault.
then, no, go ahead.
I think he would have done that more if it wasn't for the fact that we were constantly having three and outs in the first half. If it wasn't for all those three and outs, I think we could have probably ran, I'd say to be fair, maybe 20 more plays in that game at the max. And that would have been plenty of opportunity to get those guys some catches. But that just didn't happen. Adam Gase said he took it personally that the Dolphins rank last in plays per game in the NFL offensively. And he really wanted to improve upon that as an offensive play caller. So I don't think he took it too hard on himself for that first game because he knew what his plan was. So the second game, I should definitely expect us to have well over 75 plays.
What I want to see is take Julius Thomas out. I don't think they're going to do that though, and throw in Jakeem Grant, run a four wide single back set, light light that scoreboard up like a freaking tilt machine.
Yes. If they're gonna run those reverses and
Give
that
it
stuff like
to
that,
Kenyon.
yeah, put Jakeem
Oh,
on the field.
oh,
I think I saw someone else say that as well on my Facebook page. Like, yeah, it makes no sense to do that with Landry because he doesn't have the speed to break those plays. Put Jakeem out there and cause some problems. Use all the weapons. I mean, put Kenyon Drake out there. I don't understand what the plan is with Kenyon Drake as well, man. That's another problem I have because I see that Jay Ajayi has had some issues with knee soreness or whatever the case may be. Well, we're running him 30 times a game like we have nothing else. I mean, when Drake played last year, he showed some flashes. Why is he not getting 10 to 15 carries a game? I don't understand that at all.
Me either.
well, I mean, we have so many players to keep happy on this team. We have a lot of talented players that we need to keep happy on this team. Not as easy as it may seem to get every guy the amount of touches that they would need, but I do definitely see your point though. We definitely do need to take the ball out of Ajayi's hands a little more. I'd say maybe 24 touches a game for Ajayi should be the max. To be fair,
Well, they're missing out on some opportunities to have both Ajayi and Kenyon out there at the same time, and they can run Kenyon, split him out wide or in the slot as a receiver. Use Ajayi as a decoy and pitch it to Kenyon. He's the second fastest dude on this team. It's Jakeem Grant first, Kenyon Drake second, and then Kenny Steele's third. He likes to run the no huddle. Get him in that package with our speed guys. Get those dudes caught in the watching for having them in their base packages where they got the three linebackers and the two safeties. And then we have our speed guys out there. There's no way in hell a linebacker is going to cover Jarvis or Kenyon Drake or even a Jay Ajayi.
I
Yes.
would love to see.
Instead of just rip these dudes, get them caught in their base package, and then just run, make them call timeout.
I would love to see Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams in one of those two running back sets. Seeing them come out of the backfield and because those guys are hard to cover out of the backfield.
I just remember his run against the Bills where he was supposed to go over left guard. He hit the line of scrimmage, bounced out, ran a nice loop de loop backwards, and then hit the sideline, and no one touched him. 45-yard touchdown, just like that.
Yeah, one thing I noticed with Drake though is that he shows up versus divisional opponents though.
And in
Because I think he
preseason,
scored 2 touchdowns.
he showed some power in the inside. He loves the inside zone, and that's Gase's favorite option. And Ajayi, you'd think, would favor the inside zone, but he favors the outside zone.
Yeah, Adam Gase really runs a lot of stretch plays for Ajayi. I noticed that.
Yeah, especially going to the right.
Yep.
With James and Bushrod opening those holes, man.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Isaiah. I don't understand what they're going to run those pitches and those reverses and things. Man, that has Jakeem Grant written all over it. I agree with you.
I mean, I mean, if that's what we're going to be bringing Jakeem Grant in for, wouldn't that kind of be a dead giveaway though? Because if we're literally only going to use, teams are going to look at that on film. If we're literally going to bring in Jakeem Grant for 3 to 4 plays a game, and we're going to use him for gimmicks, that's obviously going to be a dead giveaway for smart defensive players who study and watch film. They're going to notice that.
So you don't do it all the time. You can't show it on every game and every game film. Sometimes you got to march him out there, line him up, and run different plays. It can't be the same all the time. I see what you mean though. It's like if I had a quarterback who I only brought in to run certain plays or run the ball like they do in slay ball. You be ready for it. You'll be like, all right, so this guy's coming in and all he's gonna do is run a little pitch reverse or whatever the case may be. So you bring him out there sometimes, you match him up against a linebacker and you run a slant. Or you bring him out there sometimes and you have him run a fly route. And then other times you bring him out there and you use him, in the screens, the ends and reverses. You got to get creative with this thing. Like if this was a Mike Martz offense with the weapons we have, it would be wide open. It reminds me of that Ram offense when they had Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Azakir Hakeem, and they were the greatest show on turf. They were wide open and they caused all types of matchup problems all over the place. So I just think Gase just needs to be a little bit more creative with it. Use all these weapons, Drake, Grant, use them, cause problems, and
And
make.
you don't have to use it all the time, but he's so versatile. He does. You don't have to just run a gimmick like you said, but we can catch him in a base personnel with that play on, and everybody assuming that he's going to run that reverse
Right.
and send him and Kenny Stills out on a 9, and
Yep.
then run Parker on a post. Man, there's not enough corners and safeties that can do cover all but three of those guys, let alone still have to tackle in the run and still cover Jarvis Landry. You still left Jarvis Landry uncovered.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so versatile that they don't. It's but Gase doesn't seem like he's still like I don't know. He's scared to let it open. He's scared to like lose some of his respect that he's getting. All this people talking good about him. Mike Marks, like Isaiah said, just forget about it and just let these guys do their thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing of, this is only his second year as a head coach. He's a very, very smart offensive coordinator, but I think it's a learning experience as well. There's things that you learn as you go along, and I think he'll be learning to be more free and comfortable along. So hopefully that is the case.
Well, that's where I'd like to see Clyde Christensen. He's supposed to be. He's named the offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
but all he seems to be doing is just sitting over there, rah the guys up and letting Adam. He should be over there telling Adam, "Hey, we've prepared these 5 plays. Let's run them." He should be over there in
I
Gase
mean,
telling Gase, "Hey, you're forgetting about this, and that." Because Gase seems like he's smart, but smart guys can tend to get tunnel vision. And it's like he's not
I mean,
not that he doesn't know he has those weapons, but he gets stuck. And he needs someone over there just to plop him on the side of the head and say, hey, dude, let's do this.
I mean, I really don't know how much Adam Gase takes Clyde Christensen's um, input during games, but Adam Gase has said that he relies on Clyde Christensen to put together his games plan for him. He tells Christensen what he wants, and Christensen puts it together for him. So I don't know how much consideration he takes to Christensen in games, but he has some trust with him. So we'll see.
True. All right. So it is actually 7:41. I was expecting to actually um have a few other people come on and and be a part of the podcast. So after after seeing that first game, of course, I made my predictions in the preseason of what I thought our wins and losses were. A lot of people were like, "Man, you crazy." After seeing that first game, um, what's your prediction for our season overall?
Uh,
I see 13-3 or 12-4.
um, when you think about it, we have 16 games with no bye week, and we have players on his team that have a tendency of getting injured, and they're key players at that. Jay had his injury history in college. Mike Pouncey, Kiko Alonso, guys like that, Xavier Howard, injury issues. And when you take that those that comes with the NFL, I have to say we could have definitely a 10-6 record. I think that is a more safe record to go with. I think the 13-3 or 12-4 record is assuming all of our guys stay healthy, which I think with the at the pace we're going at with injuries and guys missing, I don't think that will quite be the case. Go 10-6, we'll get in on a wild card, and hopefully we could definitely win at the very least one playoff game in comparison to what we've done in the past.
Coming into this season, with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, um, I had us having a 12-win season. I thought Ryan Tannehill was going to blow the doors off. I saw a 35 touchdown, 12 interception type season, a top five type season,
Yep.
especially with the, the just the weapons coming back. That was the biggest thing for me. Going into that third year with these guys, with Stills and Parker and Landry. That's why I thought it was so important, because this QB has had problems in the past hooking up with with big threats. Mike Wallace comes to mind. He had that issue, and now he's got that chemistry with these guys. Um, when Jay Cutler popped up, my it was drastic. I took it all the way down to 4-12. That's what my mindset was with Jay Cutler, because I saw Jay Cutler as a complete turnover machine. And to me, there's still a lot of questions to be answered. Still a lot of questions to be answered. What happens in those close games when we're up against a team like the Falcons or the Patriots, and we need to go down and punch it in? This past game, um, just having those three trips to the red zone and not scoring and just sailing a ball over Jarvis Landry's head, um, when he was wide open in the end zone, still has me afraid. It has me afraid to be kind of optimistic about what can happen with this team, because I still don't know what's going to happen with a very, very erratic, turnover prone quarterback. Hasn't shown that yet. He's been fairly efficient so far, but I'm still worried. I still don't. I still need to see. Uh, I still need to see him come through in crunch time, down by 7, on the road, touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a wait and see kind of thing. Once Adam Gase shows us that conservative and he'll be more balanced with his variety of pass plays that he calls, we'll really see what Jay Cutler is about. But for right now, he had a good game. I think it's important to, I guess, just bask in the moment until the Jets game and hopefully see that he has another good performance.
I was kind of worried a little bit too, but what I saw in the Charger game is that it seemed like to me Gase was a little bit afraid of what Isaiah said. That because Cutler, he's famous. He loses his footwork. That pass that he overthrew to Jarvis wide open in the back of the end zone. He didn't set his feet. He let his 2 feet clank together, and he used all arm and shoulder, and it just went high and hard over his head. Now, if there's like say that it's the Falcons game, he's got Beasley breathing down his neck, and it's crunch time. We're down by 10, and we need him to perform. I see what Isaiah's saying. Is he gonna forget his footwork, his mechanics? He's gonna float one up there, and then all of a sudden those DBs they pick it off, and then now we're screwed. But I see is that Cutler sees that he has three talented guys, and I'm not worried about him turning it over so much. I'm looking for him to trust his guys. He'll settle down with the mechanics, and if we're going to constantly play Julius Thomas in there, and Tunsil's going to have struggles with the speed rushers, let him run before he goes out in a route. Chip a dude to help Tunsil with the pass blocking, and then be a safety valve in case Cutler has to drop it off. He's famous for tight ends. He had Greg Olson in the Chicago offense before Chicago traded him out. So he's famous for having decent tight ends all the time wherever he's been. He just needs to trust what he sees and throw it. And we have the guys to get open.
Yeah.
That's why I'm optimistic. But Burt has to stop calling this. He wants to call it man off. That's bullshit. It's either zone or you pressing. And the guys like Howard and Maxwell, they have, for them to be their best, they have to put a hand on the guy at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean,
Hit the guy in front of him, close coverage, and then run downfield. You're not going to play no man zone coverage with these guys. That's not who they are, and that's why we got burnt in Sandy and LA with the Chargers.
I can't understand the fact that we have those huge corners out there. I mean, all of our cornerbacks outside of McCain is huge, and I saw the same thing last year where we had Lippett, we had Maxwell, we had Howard out there, and the amount of cushion that they're giving these receivers is insane because they're all huge. We don't have little corners.
Yeah, Maxwell 6'1", Lippett 6'3.5",
Yeah,
Howard 6'1.5", Tankersley 6'1 3/4".
yes,
The shortest guys is Werner at 5'11" and Bobby McCain at 5'10".
yes.
And
So
then when Howard was so coveted coming out of the draft, was his college tape at Baylor, he jammed the dude with his left arm into the dude's shoulder, and he'd walk him sideways to the sideline and then let him run down the route. By then, the route timing is off by a half a second.
yep.
And it was either he picked it off or it was in. But watch Tankersley, Howard, Emmett. They're lit. Last year, Xavier Howard was burnt so freaking bad that Joseph threw him out of the game and put Lippett in there, and then Lippett got burnt because he was playing off coverage, and we don't have the players for that.
Nope. Nope.
And we're going to struggle if Burt keeps calling it.
yeah, certainly. I mean, it really makes our corners look bad. I mean, what's the point of Mike Tannenbaum and Chris Gear laying out this blueprint for the type of corners that they want on their team? Big physical corners who can press, and you're not utilizing them to the best of their abilities. I get accommodating to the other players around them, but it's kind of ridiculous that we're playing that way. We're really gonna we're really gonna struggle if we don't change the play calling.
If we still had Todd Bowles as defense coordinator, you would see Howard and Maxwell literally almost offsides lined up in front of their wide receivers. And when they take two steps, Howard and Maxwell's first
Well, we
step
got to give Matt Burke a chance. Hopefully,
would
he will
step in
improve.
there. But I've seen Burke in Tennessee, and he loves the zone, the Tampa 2 zone playoff coverage, keep everything in front of you, and then make a tackle. And we only have two corners that play to that style, and that's Werner and McCain.
I
I'm sorry, but I don't want to see Werner and McCain as our number one and number two corners.
Because Bobby McCain
No,
is very good at it.
that's man. But I don't know what it's going to take for them to wake up. We have, like Isaiah said, we have the guys. They're monsters. They're not these small, athletic, fast twitch guys. They get their hands on you. They maul you. They slow you down. They rough you up, and then they let you go after the 5 yards. And by then, Cam Wake and Branch are eating your quarterback alive, and that didn't happen.
No.
And Burke was dropping Cam. This is what really pissed me off. It kept dropping Cam Wake into coverage like a linebacker.
Yep.
And he's blitzing 5'10" Mike Hole and 6 foot Rashad Jones to blitz. And Cam Wake is out in coverage. My God, dude. When Isaiah posted his video where he drew it up, I couldn't watch it all the way. I just kicking the ball to the dog outside. It's like, God damn it, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You have he's a Hall of Fame defensive end. Let him rush to quarterback, dude.
This is dark outside.
My God, he's not fucking. I realize Von Miller can cover a little bit, but he's not 290 like Cameron Wake.
Right.
He's still 260 like Jason Taylor, 242. Jason Taylor played his entire career below 250.
I mean, if they wanted to do that shit, then they should have went and got Watt.
Exactly.
Yeah, TJ Watt is pretty good right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He's perfect if that's what they want to do.
Exactly.
He can drop in coverage. He can blitz, do stunts, physical enough, strong enough with his hand and arm play to get in there and keep the dudes off of him and just strike somebody. But if you're wanting someone to drop in coverage, it's not Charles Harris. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Cam Wake.
That's what I'm saying. So
do that shit with Branch.
Yeah.
Branch was a linebacker in Clemson. He wasn't a defensive end in Clemson. So drop him in the fucking coverage and let Wake rush to quarterback. But I just kept seeing play after play after play. 91 out there covering a tight end. And my God, for giving respect to Cam Wake, he had good coverage.
Yeah.
He covered tighter than fucking Howard did. I mean, come on. But shit, that's why there was no quarterback sacks. I kept hearing people telling me in Twitter and stuff, hey, Ron, how come Cam Wake is invisible? Because he's rushing. He's covering fucking tight ends, dude. And at one point, he was covering that, what's his name, that fast receiver for the Chargers.
Travis Benjamin?
No, the smaller, faster guy.
Keenan Allen?
Yeah, he was covering Keelan Allen on 3 different plays.
Yeah.
Cam Wake, dude. I mean, it's like, God damn it, dude.
This is your best pass.
Your best pass rusher, exactly.
You're getting
and
no
you're dropping him. And for Cam Wake's credit, good job.
Yeah.
But my God, dude, if I was the head coach, I would have walked over, I'd have grabbed Matt Burke by his damn beard, and I said, motherfucker, dude. If I see that play one more time, your ass is out of here in the fucking locker room, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I even sent a message to Isaiah on Facebook. I was like, man, was that Cam Wake in coverage? He did, yep. I was like,
Um,
I guess Matt Burke saw potential in Cam Wake with the interception he had versus the Jets last season.
I bet there's a time and a place for that shit, dude. And if you're gonna blitz, don't blitz some 5'10" dude like Mike Hull or 6 foot even Rashad Jones. Why not blitz the 6'3", 250 Chase Allen?
Yeah.
They're already saying that Mike Cole is a better cover guy at linebacker than Chase Allen, so why not blitz the motherfucker?
Mike Hull's a better coverage linebacker than Chase Allen.
Oh.
That is a joke.
But if you're going to blitz, though, I agree with you. Throw the 6'3", 250 guy in there instead of the 5'10", 220.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he's gonna be better at taking on them offensive linemen. Not only that, if he can't get to the quarterback, he's gonna have a better chance at getting his hands up and getting his hands on the ball.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
So
So they made no sense in their defense.
yeah, absolutely.
Man, guys, did you see how Nate Allen dropped 2 potential interceptions last week?
Man, dude,
I was so pissed. We were down, I think maybe about 7 points, and this guy's out here dropping interceptions in the end zone. Like, come on, man.
got one if he'd have just caught it. Saves 3 points off the board.
He goes for one of them with one hand when he has the chance to go with two.
Dude, yeah.
It was ridiculous.
He's not no fucking Jarvis Landry or OBJ.
And I think he tried to do it with his left, too.
Yeah, he did. They should play Maurice Smith at that free safety. Or what's wrong with Michael Thomas? That dude was balling in all 4 preseason games. They fell in love with some guys. They have a man crush on Charles Harris. That dude had 27 snaps. He wasn't even near a freaking quarterback.
No,
Nate Allen, I don't know why they love him, but he struggled in Philadelphia and he was hot garbage in Oakland. I mean,
I hope this is the game that Charles Harris breaks out of it and gets his first sack. If you watch
I
his
don't see it.
no, this I mean
No.
he's facing a bad quarterback on a bad team.
Who's
I think
immobile.
I think this is the game that he comes through. He gets his first sack, and hopefully it propels him through the rest of the NFL season. Hopefully,
Maybe.
I mean, if we don't get 5 to 7 sacks out of him, and the Steelers continue to have the year that they're having out of Watt, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's already got 3 sacks,
Yeah,
2 interceptions, and he didn't play last week, and he's not playing this week, and he still has more tackles and more plays than Charles Harris.
yeah.
I
Charles
mean,
Harris
if
has more defensive snaps than T.J. Watt.
we had taken Watt, I would have been very satisfied with that, too. Because they were saying that Miami would be willing to run 3-4 packages specifically for Cole Misi. So they would definitely double that. They'll definitely double down on that if we had TJ Watt on our team. He's
I mean,
definitely a good player.
some of the things that they're doing with like Cam Wake would have worked anyway, though. Even if we didn't use a 3-4 defense, you could have used
True.
some of that stuff with Watt. So
Yeah. Walker certainly excelled doing
It
that.
works better with Watt running it than Cam.
Yeah.
He's a little smaller, lot twitchier, and that's exactly what he did in Wisconsin.
yeah,
But
But Charles Harris, he played a 3-4, but he was the 3-4 defensive end. So sometimes he even had somebody shaded on the outside of him. and they did a lot of twists. That's where he got his little spin move that he loves. Well, and right now that's all he's got, and that's all he's putting on tape, and that shit ain't working, dude.
No,
His
it's
spinner like, hey, here I'll grab you, bear hug you. But I was expecting if they were playing Chase Allen at the Sam, that they would drop Branch in the coverage
mhm.
and let Chase Allen do the twist with William Hayes and create some confusion. Because on that one blitz where they blitz hole up the middle, they dropped Chase Allen in the coverage and Wake in the coverage, and then they twisted Jones around the outside. Where Hayes got his sack was as Jones completely whiffed on Rivers. He went right around the edge and just completely didn't even touch him.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then Rivers twisted around, and then that's when Hayes ate him up, and Sue was right there too if Hayes would have missed. They need to do that with the bigger guys. To drop Branch off into the coverage, let Wake still come off the heat off the edge, and then send the bigger linebacker like Chase. Because I mean, if you're gonna like, didn't wasn't in the game. Those blitzes were designed for Timmons. So why not trust Chase if he's going to go ahead and start at Sam anyway? Why not let him take those Timmons plays in the blitz and just leave Hull taking Timmons' place in the nickel coverage? Then Hull doesn't get beat up slamming into there because he didn't have one effective rush when he blitzed.
Yep.
But that did you hear Burke's game plan? He had one package where Terrence Fede was going to line up at Sam linebacker.
Oh, he did.
Really?
Yeah, he's on interview during the week this week in practice, and I forgot who it was. It wasn't Omar, but somebody asked him if you lost the linebacker and you only had four and had to go down to three, did you have a contingency plan? He said, yeah. We were going to line up Terrence Fede at a Sam linebacker, and Cole was the one that got hurt. We were moving Chase into the middle linebacker, and we would have Terrence Fede at strong side linebacker.
Well, I don't think that would be a worry now because we just picked up
And
Stephon
then now
Gilmore from
this
the
week,
Saints.
if they still can't get a pass rush, and their Phillips isn't suiting up, they have a package where Terrence Fede is the defensive tackle next to Sue. Instead of going with Vincent Taylor, who showed he was a damn good tackle in preseason, also. So they obviously have a fetish with certain guys that just don't show it on the game film. I seem to shock you guys with that Burt planning Fade at Sam linebacker.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely. That was laughable right there. That was very laughable.
Thank God it was the third option. It wasn't like their second or first. They trusted
Hey,
Chase
Sam,
enough.
Matt Burke's the expert, so I don't know how that would work out.
So who do you guys rated as the worst cover guy out of the Charger game for us?
I'd say Howard. No, you say Mike Hall. I'd probably say Mike Hall because 10 of the passes that were thrown in his direction were caught, each and every one of them, in the
Yep,
middle of the field. Philip
100%.
Rivers was shredding us with his short passing game. Yeah, I think it was Hall. I give
Second,
Howard and Maxwell a break.
second was Howard. He had a league high 13 targets in week 2 for a corner and gave up a league high 10 catches for 90 yards.
Yeah, that's embarrassing for someone of his talent. That really is embarrassing. You have to use
Yeah, we
you have to
traded
give
up
use the
for
guy with
that
his
too.
strengths.
I hope Isaiah isn't right. I can't stomach a 4-12 season, dude.
if we get a 28-12 out of Cutler, then it'll shoot up dramatically. If he I mean, if he's coming through, because I expect all of those tough games, the Falcons, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Panthers, Buccaneers, Patriots, Broncos, Patriots, Chiefs. I expect all of those games to come down to one possession.
and no turnovers.
Yeah, no turnovers. It's we. I mean, I feel
I
like
fear the Chiefs and the Broncos game.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, really, our schedule looked tough.
yeah.
On our schedule right now, look really good. The Chiefs, the Raiders, the I mean, the Broncos. Those teams look really good right now. So, in comparison to where those teams are, every single one of those teams look better than us right now. So, if our play calling doesn't improve, players don't step up to the plate, and if a Lawrence Timmons can finally not go missing in action when we need him, uh, find a
Well,
way to
the
win.
secret with Timmons was the whole thing was over a missed practice, a late meeting, and Gase told him, "You're not going to start." That's why Timmons got pissed, and that's why he left. Is he didn't
Repeat that
want
again
to.
for me.
He was late to a team meeting, and
Oh,
Gase told him he wasn't starting. He could
mhm.
play, but he wasn't starting. And that's where Timmons went AWOL and got pissed, is because he didn't want to relinquish that 101 starting streak at linebacker.
Oh,
He would have preferred a fine versus not starting. That's why he got pissed, and that's why he left, and that's why he didn't call that he left.
I mean,
So it had nothing to do with his kid or anything of that nature.
He was gonna go see his kid, but it was the fact that him and Gase got into an argument because Timmons was late for the meeting, and Gase has a rule where if you're late to the meeting, you don't start. That's just his rule, that just like that. And what happened
that's
was
one thing.
offended is because Timmons got pissed and told him to go fuck himself and didn't want to have to lose out starting, and so that's why he left.
Okay.
He lost his cool. He did something wrong by leaving, but it was over the fact that he was losing that 101 starting streak at linebacker.
I could totally get why he would feel that Adam Gase making him sit out that start for the game maybe is a bit overboard and petty for the first game of the season. But at the end of the day, that truly isn't leadership. If you're literally
Well,
disrespecting your head coach to his face because you've done something wrong. I mean, what is Lawrence Timmons, 30 years old? I mean, you have to lead by
then he's
example.
31. Okay.
You got to lead by example and do better than that. And, you can't act like a 22, 21-year-old guy and run away when people are relying on you. I mean, that's really,
Well, notice Gase has a temper too. Because
yeah,
if you remember the Baye situation,
yeah, he does.
he had the same reaction, and he set 4 games.
True, true. Which I do also think was a bit over exaggerated once
Right,
Gase
and that's why I was
realized.
hoping that he admitted that he screwed up on that, and that he would learn something. I
I
can't imagine the conversation that him and Timmons had.
mean,
Because
I
Gase was
guess,
asked questions about it, he's still pissed about it.
yeah.
I'm hoping he lets it go after the Jet game, lets Timmons practice on Wednesday, and we just hug it out, bury the hatchet against the Saints in London,
Shit,
and
I,
help our defense get some games against these teams that are struggling right now, like the the Saints and the Jets.
Mhm.
Get some confidence, and then when we hit, because that first game that's going to be a test is that Tennessee Titan game, and it's going to be our first home game at Hard Rock. And if we screw around with Tennessee, those boys are bad on defense and offense. They got two big backs, Marco Murray and Henry, and
Ooh.
they now found offensive weapons in the passing game. Those dudes present some big problems if we're still fucking around over who's got the pissing contest over a fucking missed meeting in L.A. I mean, let's fucking get over it.
Oh no. Just give me his phone number. Oh man. All right, guys. So the time is now. It's now 8:11. Another very good podcast, man. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I want to thank everybody that tuned in to watch. The next podcast will be on next week, where we play on. Actually, what the hell? We play the Ravens on a Thursday.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
We play the Ravens on October 20th. Damn, that's a short week, and then we got to play a team that always gives us hell on a short week like that. So I guess the next podcast will be on Wednesday night. Can you guys make that?
Sure.
Yep.
All right, man. So Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, we will come on Dolphin Fan Voices podcast to talk about that.
Isn't our next game?
Huh?
Isn't our next game after the Jets the London game?
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm way up the schedule. I'm sorry. So actually, the next game will be damn, but that's a rough week. I was looking at the October 22nd and the 26th game. My bad. So the next game is going to be October 1st, which will be versus the Saints. That's a 9:30 game. So what would it be? Is it 30 days in September or 31? It's 30. All right. So the next. I know. So the
30.
It's 30. All right. So the next podcast will be October the 30th. We'll make that at 7 o'clock. Is 7 o'clock a good time for you guys?
Yeah.
I wanted to
It's working for me.
I wanted to give everybody an opportunity.
Well, most of the people be off of work.
I wanted to give everybody an opportunity, to get home, settle down, and everything like that. So, all right, guys. I will. We will see you guys next time, man.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Thanks, man. Peace, bud.
All right.
Peace
Peace.
to you too, man.